There is a morning in September when the outfit is off, not wrong, off. 6 decisions fix it, and July is the moment to start looking. Start with the jacket. If you own a good navy blazer, keep it. That is not the piece letting you down. But you have probably noticed something you could not quite name. It can read like a uniform now. And the reason is not you. A flat weave in a dark color gives the eye nothing to do. It reads as one solid block, and a solid block of dark structure carries an office association that is very hard to shake off. Now take the same jacket, the same color, the same cut, and weave the cloth as a herringbone instead. At any real distance, across a room, the far end of a platform, that pattern does not read as pattern at all. It reads as texture, the texture blazer. Texture gives you the structure of a blazer with none of the uniform. The weave breaks the block and your eye stays on the surface instead of sliding off it. The formula: a herringbone or a tweed, in whatever depth of color you already wear, over a fine knit from the same family, with a straight trouser. And here is the part that will feel wrong. The color is not the variable, the weave is. This is why a navy herringbone works when a flat navy does not. Same color, entirely different surface. So if navy suits you, do not talk yourself out of it. Buy the navy with a weave in it, and you have solved the problem you thought was the color's fault. Your cue is 2 meters. Step back from a mirror. If you can still see individual lines of weave, the pattern is too large. If it has gone soft and become a warm, indistinct depth of color, that is the right scale. One more thing on this, because it is the test I use for everything in this video. I do not trust a rule I cannot see working from across a room. If a mechanism only shows up in a close-up photograph, it will not show up in your life, because nobody stands 8 inches away from you. Every cue I give you today is something you can check at 2 meters in a mirror in 10 seconds. That is the whole standard. Now the layer, and this is the piece I would buy first if I were only buying one. September is 12 to 18 degrees, too cool for one layer, far too warm for wool outerwear. That is the morning I described, and this is the piece that ends it. The answer is a cardigan with real weight to it, not the thin ones that go under things. The kind that goes over everything. In caramel, in chocolate, in a warm off-white. In that 12-degree window, a cardigan at that weight is outerwear, the 12-degree layer. The mechanism is thermal, and it explains why this works when a blazer does not. Cashmere or a heavy lamb's wool at that weight insulates without being windproof. So it holds your heat when the air is still and releases it the moment you walk into a shop. A wool coat only has one setting. The formula: heavy cardigan in caramel or chocolate. Fine cream or white top underneath. One trouser, nothing else, no coat over the arm. The contrarian part, and of everything here, this is the one I would ask you to try. Button it to the top and wear it as the top. Nothing at the neck, nothing at the wrist. Closed, a cardigan is a knitted jacket. Open over a white shirt, how most of us were taught to wear one. It goes straight back to being a cardigan, and that is the most dating combination in early autumn. Same garment, different decade. Your visual cue is your own outline. Closed, you have one clean vertical. Open, you have 3 shapes competing. Third, the trouser. Because the other half of that September morning is heat. Everything autumnal you own is too warm to put on. So you stay in summer clothes feeling a step behind until suddenly it is October and you have skipped the season entirely. There is one fabric that solves this, and it is the one almost nobody thinks of in July: corduroy. The cord shift. The mechanism is optical rather than thermal. Corduroy has a raised pile, so the surface catches light unevenly and creates small areas of depth and shadow. That makes it read richer and more autumnal than a flat cotton, even in a lighter weight. The formula: corduroy trouser in charcoal or chocolate, straight or slightly flared, cotton shirt, flat shoe. Nothing else changes. You have moved seasons by changing one garment, the contrarian part. Avoid a fit that grips the calf. When the fabric pulls across the leg, it interrupts the clean vertical wail. A straight or gently flared cut lets the rib fall continuously from hip to hem. A fine wail looks almost velvet soft from 2 meters. A broad wail looks more rugged and casual. Now, do not write any of this down. I made you a card instead. 1 page, 6 pieces, 6 colors. The exact shade to look for, the formula underneath it, and the 4 things to leave on the rail. It is called the 6-piece card, and it is free. Go to trendspottedfashion.com/fall. Print it, put it in your bag, and you can walk into any shop between now and October knowing exactly what you are looking for. 4th, the coat. And this is the piece where the timing of this video genuinely matters. The first autumn coats are already arriving, and some retailers have new season pieces in July promotions. Coats are on sale right now at the end of July for a season that has not started. That is not a mistake on anybody's part, it is how outerwear works, and almost nobody explains it. The July color window. The mechanism is stock rather than style. Coats are cut in small runs, and those runs are not equal. The reason to look early is selection. Before the cold weather arrives, you can usually compare camel, taupe, chocolate, and cream rather than choosing from whatever remains in your size. So by the second week of October, when it has finally turned cold enough that you want a coat, the only coats left are the colors nobody was excited about. The formula: buy the coat now in the color you want and put it away, mid-calf over a trouser. A loosely tied belt often follows the body more naturally than a tightly fastened buckle, and lets you adjust the tension rather than forcing a rigid closure. The contrarian part: if you already own black, do not automatically buy another black coat merely because it feels safer. Try camel, taupe, or chocolate beside your face first. Your cue is daylight. Hold it beside your face, near a window. Camel should look warm against your skin. If it looks yellow, you want the grayer taupe. Both exist side by side on the same rail, and they are not interchangeable. One material has taken over autumn accessories, and for once the reason is not fashion, it is brown suede. The light scatter bag, the mechanism is physics. Brush the surface one way and then the other. A good nap should change tone slightly as it moves. That tells you the surface has depth. Check the label to learn whether it is genuine suede or a synthetic alternative. The formula: 1 brown suede bag, shoulder or small top handle with an otherwise plain outfit. If you are wearing the caramel cardigan, this is the piece that finishes it. The contrarian part: do not match it to your shoes. Matched brown accessories read as a set, and a set reads as effort. Bag 1 brown, shoe another, coat a third. 3 browns that do not match is a Parisian signature, and far easier than 1 brown that matches exactly. 6th. And this fixes the complaint I hear most often about autumn. Autumn adds weight to your top half. Knitwear, jacket, scarf, all above the waist. So outfits that worked in June feel heavy and short in September. That is not your proportions changing. That is the season loading everything onto one half of you. And the answer is not a thinner sweater. The collar vertical. The mechanism is a line. A crew neck ends in a horizontal across your collarbone, and a horizontal at the widest point of your top half stops the eye right there. A V ends in a point. Put a collared shirt underneath, and the collar opens outward while the V runs downward. A narrow vertical channel from chin to sternum. That channel is the only thing in an autumn outfit pulling the eye down. And it is enough to undo the weight above it. The formula? Fine gauge V in a warm neutral, cotton shirt underneath, collar out, top 2 buttons undone, sleeves pushed to the forearm. The contrarian part. A deeper V then feels comfortable. A shallow V is just a crew neck with a notch cut into it. The line needs length before it does anything. Your cue is the point. It should sit below the top of your sternum. Up at the collarbone, that neckline is not earning you anything. Which leaves the 4 things I have deliberately not mentioned. Across the autumn previews, 4 ideas came up again and again. Jacquard and brocade. Heavy embellishment, beading, embroidery, the lot. Fur and shearling. None of them is here, and not because they are wrong. They are runway language, and runway language is built to be photographed. A garment designed to be seen once, at speed, from a fixed distance, under lights, is solving a completely different problem from a garment you have to put on at 8 in the morning and still be wearing at 6. I think of it as the runway tax. It is what you pay when you buy the photographed version of a season instead of the worn one. It costs money, and it costs you wear per item. And it is not a mistake you made. It is what happens when the only autumn anybody describes to you is the one that came down a runway in February. One exception, because there always is one. The question is never whether you are allowed. It is how much of the outfit you want it to run. A single beaded brooch on a camel coat is an accent. A beaded coat can work too. But then the coat is the whole story. The difference is not permission, it is surface area. So, a weave rather than a flat cloth. In whatever color already suits you. The cardigan worn as the jacket. Corduroy in July. The coat in the color you actually want, bought now while it exists. One brown suede bag that matches nothing, and a V deep enough to earn its line. All 6 are on the card at trendspottedfashion.com/fall. And you will have noticed there is not a single shoe among those 6. That was deliberate. Shoes are the other half of this, and the French shoe rules are a separate set of decisions. Walked through by a woman who has been buying shoes in Paris for longer than most of the labels on this list have existed. That is Friday.